Hello and welcome back to AutomateOps. In the last episode, we nailed the core concepts of dynamic inventory, and today we will go hands-on with crisp diagrams, practical labs, and real workflows so they can build and run dynamic inventory with confidence. So, without doing any further ado, let's dive in. There, I have tried to explain how Ansible loads the inventory. When you run an Ansible command through the playbook, it gathers inventory from your sources. That could be a Python script like Python inventory.py or plugins like AWS EC2, Azure RM, or Kubernetes. Then Ansible merges host, group run any host vars or group vars. Crucially, it preloads the host variable via underscore meta host vars and avoid repeated lookups. And the cache layer, maybe JSON file or Redis, it speeds up everything. Finally, Ansible core executes tasks that in memory view. Okay. Now, if I go to the next slide here, I'm trying to give you why underscore meta optimization is really important here. Without underscore meta, Ansible has to keep calling your inventory source all the time. Each time Ansible will keep calling your inventory. But if you have underscore meta, all host vars are bundled only once. So there's no reinvocation chaos, just fast runs at scale. You'll see this payoff in the Python lab and in large AWS accounts. Now here comes the AWS EC2 Dynamic Inventory. Our AWS EC2 underscore YAML, it drives everything. It uses IAM credentials, queries the EC2 API in UAssist 1 with our filters, builds keyed group from tags, availability zones. It caches the results, renders the inventory graph. This is a cloud native way to keep the automation accurate. Okay. Now in the next slide, we will go into the lab. So this is the script-based inventory. This script defines the host vars, meaningful groups, JSONs for the hyphen list and hyphen host, writes logs to a rotating file while keeping std out purely JSON. We have also added 100 fake hosts to visualize scale and measure the underscore meta effect. Then we can go to the demonstration part. Okay. So this is my console. I hope you have seen it. Now what I will do here, I'll show you the .inventory file. So this is my .inventory file here. And if you see this particular section here, I'm defining the inventory. There is a local host, Ansible user I have declared is a connection. And I have to defined AWS EC2 instance. I have declared their private IP address, declared the user through which they will connect. This is an Amazon Linux, so default user will be EC2 user. I have defined the Ansible Python interpreter and Ansible SSH key file also so that they can connect passwordless using SSH. Target to is an Ubuntu server, so by default user is Ubuntu. This is the private IP address. And then I have defined the Python interpreter version and the private key file. Here I have defined the localhost and target both, and I'm not checking any host key. Here I am doing the fake 100 host. So you will find out that I've created a called fake, and then I have also declared an all so that underscore in the children I have declared everything. And in all also, all the group vars I have declared. So let's go there and see what it is returning to us. Okay. So what I will do, I'll now start commands here. Let me clear the screen. Now, Ansible, this is the version 2.16. Let me show you the ansible.cfg. This is very interesting. If you see this particular information, here I have declared inventory twice. One is for the inventory and py, second is for the EC2 instrument. Now by default, this one is declared as the inventory file. I am not checking any host key, and here I am call out callback for any stdout using YAML, and Ansible callbacks is true. Here I have declared the cache. We'll come back to the cache section when we will discuss. It's a very important, very critical utility in Ansible. So let me go there and change this inventory. Here what I will do now, I will modify this and I will comment this out. So now, right now when Ansible will look for inventory by default, it will go into the Ansible inventory.py. All right. So what I will do, I'll run two commands one more time. We have seen a lot of unreachable host. This is very normal because these fake host does not have any physical or virtual existence. These are all just for the records. But my three hosts, target one, local host, and target two, they are pingable. So let me try to see if I can use that. So if you see this particular demo here, I have limited this to all except this fake host so that you will get a very clean output. Here it's very messed up because all these fake hosts are really bothering us. So if you use this particular command, you will get only the target host. So all these servers are reachable to each other. All right. Then what I will do, I'll show you another command. It is showing all the hosts here. Okay. Using this particular command. Now let me type another command to show you how it looks like, the groups. So you see there are total 103. Hundreds are only fake host, and this three, one is control, one is target, and second is the fake. So three groups are there, total 103 hosts. Okay, fine. So let me go back to the PPT now. All right. So here, if you go back to the lab, you will see that we have tried to give you an idea about the cache, what it is all about. So it's a massive accelerator. If I talk about caching, and we enable this human-friendly output, we disable host key prompts for demos, turn on fact caching to cut the repeat calls. It's a very, very crucial concepts here. So in this particular portion, if you start my pointer, if you see this particular section, I have enabled the cache. My first caching is fact caching is JSON file, cache timer to 7200 seconds, and the connection is /tmp/ansible.cache. So what I can do, I can go back to the console one more time and show you that particular section here. Mm, where is that /tmp? So it did not create anything, but when it will be, it will show you that. Now, what I will do, I'll go back to that one more time here. Very important concept. Uh, Now we'll discuss about the AWS Dynamic Inventory. But before that, we have to make sure that our control node is ready because most of the dynamic inventory issues aren't with the Ansible, they are with the setup on the controller. So let's lock down this for a minute. And first thing what I will do here, I will make sure that our Ansible configuration is looking at the ec2.yaml, but after discussing this theory. So first, we'll install the AWS CI and we will verify it with a AWS dash dash version. Next, we will configure the AWS credentials and the default region where we will put our access key and the secret into AWS credentials and then the set the region US East 1 and we will our output will be in JSON formats. For your case, US East 1 is not mandatory. You can define any zone you want. It's for my case, it's an US East 1 for just the sake of lab. In the AWS config, we will mention the region and the output, and then finally we will run a quick identity check. Let me discuss this in the lab also. Then we'll show this AWS STS get caller identity. We'll use that to get what is the number of that user. After that, we will use the Ansible Galaxy collection to install Amazon.aws plugin. We will install the Boto3 also using this particular command. And then we will enable this plugin into ansible.cfg. Enable plugins is Amazon AWS EC2 YAML and I9 Auto. So let me go back to that lab now and we'll show this configuration files. Okay. So now if I go to ansible.cfg, you see this particular section here, or what I can do, let me open that in the, yes. So now if you see this particular section where it is showing that, let me first change this to inventory AWS EC2.yaml. And then this particular section, I'm enabling the plugin was Amazon AWS EC2 YAML I9 Auto. And here also I'm using the same cache information. So right now the Ansible will look into AWS underscore EC2.yaml to look for an inventory file by default. Okay, let me save this file. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll go to this AWS underscore EC2.yaml. Okay. What it is doing, let me show this content. All right. If you see this particular section here, what it is doing, it is asking AWS to use this plugin Amazon AWS .aws underscore EC2, same is configured into a configuration file also. It is asking to look into USS1 by default, and it is asking to look into the tags, environment tags inside all the Amazon EC2 instances, which instances are running. So there are two filters. One is a tag where it is look for environment is equal to production and the instance state is running. All right. And then it is looking for the tags like role tag underscore role, which should be when the placement or the availability zone will start from AZ underscore image underscore ID will start with AMI underscore one and the tags dot name will be name underscore something. And when it will look for into any kind of Ansible host, it will look for the public IP address first, and by default look for private IP address. If not, it will look for the public IP address. Here also I am using the cache information. Cache is true. Plugin is JSON file. Timeout here is 3600 seconds instead of 7200, and it is asking or caching all the information in this particular file dot cache slash AWS underscore EC2. All right. So what I will do, see, for any kind of changes into the, suppose you have bring any new servers by default, it should point out, but For that, you have to clear your cache and requery. Otherwise, it will point to the older location only or older information only. All right. So let me do one thing. Let me ping all the servers inside Amazon AWS. Okay. So there are three servers, and these servers are been mentioned like this only. Okay. Let me show you one more thing. Let me go to the list all the files here. So this is the list. You see this particular dot cache. Let me go there. You see there are multiple caches mentioned over here. So any kind of changes into the inventory, if you are bringing even any new server, if you are removing any server dynamically, we should remove this cache and then we can restart that. Okay. Now let me go back to the original part, that is cd host. Sorry. Okay. So now what will happen? Let me show you the list. You see the C servers. Let me open one of them. Here I have given all of them the basic user and the private key information so that they can connect with our control servers can connect with each one of them. So let me open another one. It's an Amazon Linux server, so it is pointing to the user and the private key file. It is connecting to the Ansible Connect PEM is a controller server, it's an Ubuntu server. So based on that, it is getting connected with each other. Okay. So overall, there is a checklist file which I should discuss with you in this particular point here. So what we can do that we have already mentioned what are the things needed, like we have to install the AWS in part. So let me go back to that particular section here. So CLI we have to install, we have to configure the AWS credential, we have to install the AWS collection, we have to enable the plugins. Along with that, we have to ensure that our host bus is having all this information, whatever I have shown in the lab. So let me go back to that lab one more time. Yes, this is the lab. You have to ensure that it is this kind of information is available, or you can use a groove bars if you have the similar kind of operating system and similar kind of private file for the lab purpose. I have created these three YAML files and we have given all the information which is needed to connect with each other. Okay. Now, if I have to go back there, what I will do here, I will try to give you one more information regarding how to get the information using this dynamic variable for any kind of configuration information for any of the servers. Okay, here we are. So one second. Ansible, sorry, Ansible playbook post underscore info. You may have a question here that why it is throwing, it's a warning, it's not an error. So it is asking for the Python information. Future installation, there might be another interpreter. It is gathering the fact for all three servers, but it is actually showing the server only for the Linux server. It is keeping two of them. So let me open the code here. If you see this particular code, it is showing the information, node name, username, operating system, number of CPUs, every information it is providing, but I have given a condition when the distribution is Amazon, major version is low, it is showing basically the information of Amazon Linux. If I remove this particular when section, it will give you the information from all three servers. So let me do that. Let me remove this and let me run this code. Okay. So you see, it is showing the information. Like for this one, it is showing Ubuntu, number of vCPU, it is what is the how many are the user, and then what is the no what is the node name here. Here also is given the node name. It is target one. This is given all the information. Here it is control. This is actually control server, and it is showing all the information. So you see that using the dynamic inventory here. So let me open that or show me that particular configuration file of Ansible. Here it is connecting to AWS EC2.YAML only. So let me show you that AWS EC2 YAML one more time. So it is asking give some information. All the information of the all the servers having environment is prod, which is running, and I have given this key group also. It is accessible through the public IP address, and caching is always there. Okay. Now we have another part. So let me go there. And what we can do, we can show you that what how the servers are reachable. Ansible playbook site. It is nothing but the ping of all these servers. So it is pingable to each other, but it is showing a warning for this Linux, Amazon Linux server. So it is like that, but all the servers are pingable here. All right. So what are the some useful commands here? We can explore them with all this information. So let me go back to the PPT now. All right. It is showing the host information here. Here are the some useful commands. So we have to turn in and off or switch it on both one of the dynamic inventories. So if you want to play with inventory.py in the Ansible configuration, you have to map with the Ansible, sorry, this inventory py, and then you have to run these two commands so that you can show. So what I will do, I'll show first, I will turn the switch on for inventory.py so that Ansible can look for this particular Python file for any dynamic information, and it will show you all these things. And then I will turn it on for ec2.yaml, and then we'll run this command. So let's do it. Okay. So what I will do, I'll first let me change. and go to that particular option. I'm turning the inventory on for this particular file in Python file. And now what I will do, I will run this here. So what is the command we should run? We have to run the Ansible inventory file. To see the output here, it is showing all the information from all the hosts, including the fake ones and the original ones also. Group wise, it is showing the status, showing all the information, children, how many of them inside the fake, and how many groups are there. Okay. Then I will do what? I will run this particular command. I have shown you this, but let me run it through one more time. And then what I will do, I will run one more command here. Let me check if it is pointing or not. It is pointing to the right information only. In the last command also, I should do the same thing. Let me clear the screen. See, I have removed the particular I to point manually to inventory.py. It is by default pointing or getting the information of inventory.py from the ansible.cfg file. All right. Okay. So now what I will do, I'll go into that configuration file one more time, and then I will change it. Vim ansible. So now I will do what? I will run this particular command here. What is that command? Uh, Maybe what I will do, I'll show you this. Ansible inventory hyphen graph. Remove this minus I. We don't need to point manually to the dynamic inventory. You see this? It is showing everything. Main group. Then we have subgroups also. What is target 2? What is target 1? What is control? It is showing everything. All right. And then what we can do here, we can write the same thing. Ansible no, it is, I may have done something mistake. Now it is showing a message. We have to see what is that all about, why it is showing like that. So we have got the command. It is showing all the go host. So if I want to check the connectivity also, like that. So let me go back to the lab here. Let me, right. So these are the best practices which I have collected. So we have to prefer plugins for the cloud and use scripts for the custom or legacy resources. We should always return underscore meta host bars for performance. We have to keep std out strictly to JSON, send errors to std error underscore logs. We have to enable caching for the cloud inventories to API or remit late. We can use tags plus create group for safe targeting and always validate ansible hyphen inventory hyphen validate. So here we are. So that is it for today. That's the overall I wanted to discuss about Ansible dynamic inventory with the lab and that we have shown different samples how you can use it. What all the things we have to do to enable plugins, what all installation we have to do, we have covered. If this has helped, we please like, share, and subscribe to this AutomateOps channel for more upcoming videos. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Keep automating. Thank you all. Bye.